So you're Skeletor. Would you like some Spoo? It's very good.
No, I don't want any Spoo. I hate Spoo. I don't even know what Spoo is. Now go away! Can't take much more of this. Truce or no truce, I'm getting out of here.
Wait till you hear this, asshole.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? But there's also a burger element to this?
I mean, he wouldn't actually be offering fast food as an incentive for a vaccine, would he?
Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This can be breakfast? Okay.
That would be like offering cake with an insulin shot. This must just be an old SNL skit. I'm surprised I missed this one. I didn't hear anything about the mayor of New York hosting the show.
Some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life, but...
Oh yeah, it's 2021. I keep forgetting. What used to be made-up scenarios and sketch comedy shows is now our reality.
If this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
What, you want me to think of heart disease?
Vaccination.
Good Lord. How about instead of having us think about things that contribute to our demise, we start thinking about things that keep us alive? Like, I don't know, eating healthy, exercise, taking vitamins.
Krispy Kreme is offering free donuts for those who get vaccinated against coronavirus.
White Castle is handing out free dessert to anyone with proof that they have received the COVID-19 vaccine.
You can now get a free mini cheesecake from Junior's if you...
Yeah, let's throw in some Oxycontin while we're at it too. How about a free bag of meth when you show Fat Tony your vaccine card?
Now, there's a stark link between obesity and dying from COVID-19, according to new research. 90% of deaths from COVID-19 are from countries with high rates of obesity.
I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment.
It's good to know they're looking out for our health, isn't it?
It's a great way to incentivize vaccines. That's right.
You know who's redeemed every one of these? This lady.
I don't care if you're vaccinated, you little dink.
Okay.
I don't want to get sick and die.
Oh yeah, because you really look concerned about your health. You're about 7,500 trips to Krispy Kreme too late for us to believe that one, lady.
There's other people you can infect just because you're vaccinated. You know what? You're not a special person around here. You should hear... Because you're vaccinated. You know what? You're not a special person around here. In fact, just because you're vaccinated, you know what? You're not a special person around here. You should hear about how everybody talks about you. Not a special person around. There's other people you can infect just because you're vaccinated. You know what? You're not a special person around here. You should hear about how everybody talks about you. You're a jerk.
I don't care how people
You're a jerk.
Well, it looks like Jake Paul found his next opponent.
Yep, you see it right there. Free beer.
Get a shot, take a joint.
Ugh, just listen to that. That's how a parent bribes their kid to eat vegetables. Eat your vegetables, Timmy. See? Daddy's eating them.
Part of it is that I feel like I'm gonna have to rewire myself so that when I see see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat. Or you are selfish, or you are a COVID denier, and you definitely haven't been vaccinated. I mean, we're going to have to rewire the way that we look at each other. Because the CDC's guidance, which she just told me we are sure, is that if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask except in very specific circumstances. And so that means as we change that as a country, we're going to look at each other differently and have to unwire our preconceptions about what a mask or a lack of a mask means.
Liberals, you know, the high information by the science people. In a recent Gallup survey, Democrats did much worse than Republicans in getting the right answer to the fundamental question, what are the chances that someone who gets COVID will need to be hospitalized? The answer is between 1 and 5%. 41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%. Another 28% put the chances at 20 to 49. So almost 70% of Democrats are wildly off on this key question and also have a greatly exaggerated view of the danger of COVID-2 and the mortality rate among children. All of which explains why today the states with the highest share of schools that are still closed are all blue states. So if the right-wing media bubble has to own things like climate change denial, shouldn't liberal media have to answer for, how did your audience wind up believing such a bunch of crap about COVID?
YouTube truth channels, BitChute, all the offshoots, all the pens that keep all the truthers bitching about the same old stuff and chasing down the same old rabbit holes. Guys, ultimately, what we need to know, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again, it's basically half a page. It's very simple. But the reality itself is the Event Horizon ship. It shows in the Event Horizon, Captain Miller, Lawrence Fishburne says, it shows you your worst fear. Well, this reality, it's not just about fear, although that's, it loves that, but it will show every group what most distracts them, so that group is preoccupied outside of itself and never realizing its true nature. So what does the Event Horizon ship, which is a complete truth drop for the reality itself, show? Conspiracy theorists. It'll show us every conspiracy in the world. So we spend a lot of time trying to chase after it, trying to spend 10 years and say, what's his name? Zachariah Sitchin, was his work legitimate? It loves when you do that, because you're not understanding your true nature. It's a half a page, guys. It's not a what do you know. Get in touch with your inner knowing. It'll tell you everything I'm about to say is true. Then once you understand this, or you guys at this channel understand this, just remember it and stop chasing all this bullcrap that's coming up on YouTube. What do we have now? We have something comes different every day. We have if you don't rent the movie, you don't get the action Jacksonation, but you're around several people or groups of people that have rented the movie, they're gonna shed some sort of protein on you. You're gonna die. If I didn't get it, but if I'm around, if I go into a group and they got it, they rented the movie, I'm gonna die? Yeah, you're gonna die. I mean, come on. Come on. This endless bullshit in this freaking community. You know, again, it's a half page. It's a half page. Let's not lose sight of it. Let's not lose sight of it. So let's just do exercises a little bit different way to understand it. People are here at all levels of understanding. And it is amazing to me how a certain type of high-level truther gets frustrated with me. You're Matt, you're talking about the same old thing, or you're not like my whole channel is out to serve people at their level. No, like in any high school, there's 9th graders that come in, they come up. If you're ready to graduate, graduate. So it's like, it is amazing to me how much of that I get. Well, Matt, we understand that. You might understand that. What about the 9th graders coming up? No thought, not even a thought for those people. That's maybe my role. Maybe you're a certain level Jedi, you're ready to graduate. But we all need to return to these basics from time to time. We all can pick up the rifle. We're gonna go rabbit hunting again, because that's what the Event Horizon reality does to us. It knows exactly what to show us, so we can chase it. That brings us outside of ourselves to show us. The Event Horizon reality does to us. It knows exactly what to show us, so we can chase it to us. It knows exactly what to show us, so we can chase it. That knows exactly what to show us, so we can chase it. That brings us outside of ourselves. We never realize our true nature. So let's do this exercise. Pick a powerful superhero, a powerful being, a comic book hero, somebody in a movie, Merlin, that can manipulate time and space from the Arthurian legend. Just, good, bad, it doesn't. Just pick somebody. Pick somebody. Okay. That's who you are, the Green Lantern. That's who you are, the Green Lantern. So it's the half-page explanation of what the entire reality is out to do is it's out to make sure the Green Lantern never knows he has any power. That's its first goal. It does this by presenting an entire reality that's a deception, a trick, a manipulation. Anybody new here going, everything? Yeah, every damn thing is a trick. On the telephone? Yeah, everything. Everything is a trick, deception, manipulation. If it comes from what we call the screen, if it comes through the minions, if it comes through the systems they've built, like called society, culture, governments, if it comes from there, it's a trick to get you. You're sitting there in your Green Lantern outfit, you got your big green ring, but you know what the F it's for. I got this big ass green ring here. Well, you don't realize you can just beam the ring, make some gigantic, thing to fight crime. This, Green Lantern can make a giant hammer. Don't step on the keyboard, puss. Cut me off. Thank you.
the deception is part of the game. Everyone's like, well, why would they? No, you don't need to answer why. To see something as a lie, you don't need to know why someone lies. And you have to get this out of your head. This concept that, you have to figure out or provide me a reason why someone would lie about something in order to demonstrate that it's nonsense is a really silly, naive, dumb place to stand if you're advocating or pursuing truth. It's probably the worst argument. Well, what? I don't know why they would do that, so I'm not going to look into it. Look into it. Walls bet stole your drawing and cropped. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can't crop my... The thing is, you can crop my name out of a drawing, but you can't crop my shitty lines. It's insanity. It's insanity what's going on. What else we got here? Look at this guy. Listen to this little snippet. Wait, is that it?
Powder or burnt steak, or to me it's sort of like quickly repressurize the hatch, and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak, or to me it's sort of like brimstone, like a witch has just
like a witch.
It's a cool, lingering.
That's some Hatfield douchebag with a little pervy mustache. He's part of the Freemason experiment. A lot of these guys do their little talks on, what's it called? The Masters class, which I believe is a Freemason deal. Again, maybe suburban symbolism. You can investigate that further and see if that's a valid assumption that the master class production is connected to the master level Masons. I think it is, but that's just I can't prove it. Anyway, that guy is saying that space has a smell, and it smells like a witch. It smells like a witch.
This spirited man had been expecting this crisis. Maybe not a global pandemic per se, but he knew something was coming. For a decade, this spirited man had been reading books, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. His brother, a spirited man himself, told him to read this book, The Fourth Turning. This book turned out to be this spirited man's favorite kind of book, a mind blower. A book about how and when history repeats itself. And this is what the book said. History repeats itself in 80-year blocks called saeculum, but we'll just call them history blocks. Not exactly 80 years. This is history, not math, but roughly the span of a human lifetime, maybe 80 to 90 years. Within these 80-year history blocks, we have 4 turnings of around 20 years each. We usually call them generations. This book calls them turnings. Turnings are sort of like seasons, like spring, summer, fall, winter. Throughout our history, we've had these 80-year blocks, and the 80-year blocks have been remarkably similar to each other. We're in one now. The first turning, the first season, is a high, an upbeat era. The second turning is an awakening, passionate era. The third turning is an unraveling, downcast era. And the fourth turning, well, sorry, but fourth turnings suck. The fourth turning is a crisis, an era of upheaval. We're in a fourth turning right now. So let's take a look at our secular, our history block. The history block that we're in the crisis of right now. Our high began after our World War II victory. By our, we mean America's. These are America's history blocks and turnings. During a high, the getting is good. We had the most even distribution of wealth during our high. You could work at a gas station and afford to buy a house. This high is the period that the MAGA hats refer to. We got Hank Williams and Elvis and Little Richard and the birth of rock and roll. We launched monkeys and men into space. This is when the Mustangs and Corvettes first came out. Our high ended with the assassination of John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963.
The high is not a high for everyone, of course. America still had a segregated South. Homosexuality was illegal and considered a mental disorder. The high is a period of conformity. The age of nonconformity and of social justice begins during the Awakening, our passionate era. During the Awakening, we had Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, acid, Vietnam protests and Vietnam itself, the Women's Liberation Movement, Stonewall and the Gay Rights Movement, great movies, great music. This is when the first Macintosh computer came out. The Awakening is a time of increasing individualism. This second turning, this awakening, ended with the re-election of Ronald Reagan in 1984. Things get messy during the third turning, during the unraveling. We got the fall of Soviet communism and the beginning of the Russian gangster state. The greatest musicians of the time sang about violence and decay in their deteriorating cities. The LA riots, OJ, the bombing of Bosnia, and the Columbine high school shootings on the same day. September 11th, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Our unraveling ended with the financial crisis of 2008. The fascinating fact about this book is that it was written during the last third turning, published in 1997. But the book predicts now, what's happening now in this fourth turning. And what's happening now is right on schedule. "80 years ago, in the last fourth turning, America had a Great Depression, then World War II. 80 years before that, the Civil War. 80 years before that, the Revolutionary War. Now it's our turn to save the country." So where do you fit into all this? What's your role? It depends when you were born. Each generation, each cohort, tends to embody a specific archetype. An archetype that will move the society towards the next high. Each generation's archetype is the characteristic that will define the generation in its prime, in midlife. The boomer archetype is the prophet. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs are boomers and prophets. Both predicted that one day everyone, not just big corporations and governments, would own a computer. Gates even predicted a crisis like COVID-19 5 years beforehand. The writers of this book are boomers. Gen X is the nomad generation. The quintessential Gen Xer, Elon Musk, builds things that move us from one place to another. Rockets, electric cars, hyperloops, nomadic devices. But the millennials, raised during the unraveling, will emerge as the hero generation during this crisis. These are the Parkland High students, the frontline hospital workers, and Malala Yousafzai. The book says millennials will be the World War II heroes of our history block. We don't know what Gen Z will do, but they will be an artist generation. From them will emerge the next Bill Withers,
Toni Morrison, Bob Dylan, all born during the last crisis, all from an artist generation. The history block before ours ended with World War II and began with the Civil War, 80 years prior. The history block before that ended with the Civil War and began with the end of the Revolutionary War, 80 years prior. Every 80 years or so, something big comes along and changes everything. And now, we're at the end of our history block, right in the middle of our crisis.
I spoke too soon, and how much did it cost? I was dropped from and sail on shooting maybe you be president, but no right from wrong, or in the flood. You build an ark and sail us to the moon. Sail to the moon. Sail to the moon.
So the ground is being softened for a whole new dark winter. When Joe Biden says that phrase, he's not lying. It will be a dark winter. And it's going to extend beyond the season of winter, unless we push back. That's the thing. We, the people in every country, have to push back, because they're not going to stop unless they're stopped.